Verb tense review. I know there are a lot of things to keep in mind when studying English, but there are three things to keep in mind when working on verbs in English. Number one, what is the time of the verb? That means, is it the past, the present, or the future that you're talking about? Number two, what is the aspect, or what teachers often call form of the verb? That means, is it simple? Is it progressive? Is it perfect? Or is it perfect progressive? And some people call the progressive tenses continuous. And number three is the verb regular or irregular. The simple present and simple past tenses. Keep in mind the word simple for these tenses. The simple present and simple past usually are just one word in form. That's why they're simple. However, the simple present gives a lot of people problems. The simple present refers to facts, not to what's happening right now. So I can say, revolutions still happen today. That's in the simple present, and I'm just making a simple statement. I do not say, revolutions are still happening today, if I'm just talking about a fact in general. The second sentence uses the present progressive, and I'm not referring to a specific revolution happening right at this moment. So for simple facts, we use the simple present. The simple past refers to a verb that is completed. It all started back in 1607. Now, maybe it's still going, but that starting moment is finished. So we use the simple past for that verb. The present progressive and past progressive tenses are also known as the present continuous and past continuous tenses. I like to refer to them as the progressive because that word has a G in it, and it reminds me that this is the ing form. So both of these use a form of to be plus the main verb in ing form. The present progressive uses am, is, or are. That's the present of the to be verb plus an ing verb. And likewise, the past progressive uses was or were, which is the past tense of the to be verb, plus the main verb in the ing form. I can say, I am taking ESL 90 this semester. So here the emphasis is on the action right now, this semester. So right now is what we mean by present progressive. However, that right now can mean this semester or this year or this period in my life. For the past, we can say the French were starting their own colonies while the British were starting theirs. Here there are two verbs happening at the same time continuously in the past. So this is in comparison, two things happening at the same time. This is really the most common use of the past progressive. We don't want to use the past progressive when we simply just can use the simple past. The present perfect and past perfect tenses are not perfect. In my opinion, the present perfect tense is one of the hardest to understand. Present perfect tense is a bit tricky. It is used with the idea of ever or never. It's used if you want to know about the past, but there's no emphasis on the time when something has happened. And it's used with the recent past. I can ask you, have you ever been to any of the original 13 colonies? That means that I care about if you have been, not when or even how many times. Now, if I want to say, have you eaten? That means recently. If you went to a party yesterday, I wouldn't say, have you eaten? I would say, did you eat? Meaning, did you eat at the party? But if I see you today and I say, have you eaten? I mean just today, recently. The past perfect is a little bit easier in my opinion. It's used for something in the past that has happened before something else happened, or something else that had happened. we can say the American Indians and the French had fought the colonists and the British before the American Revolution happened. So here we have the American Revolution happened in the simple past. But before that, the American Indians and the French had fought. So the past perfect is before the simple past. There are two other ways to express the past. Used to and would are used to express an ongoing activity or habit in the past. I can say, I used to visit my grandmother every Sunday when I was a little girl, or I would visit my grandmother every Sunday when I was a little girl. These two sentences mean the same thing. Because visit is an active verb, I can use either one. However, we can only use used to with stative verbs. Those are verbs of feeling or verbs that don't really show an action. We cannot use would with stative verbs. So for instance, I can say, I used to like cucumbers, but I don't anymore. But I can't say I would like cucumbers, but I don't anymore. That's because like is a stative verb, so I can use it with used to, but I can't use it with would. And now for some tenses that are not used as often, but it's good to know about them. The present perfect progressive and the past perfect progressive tenses. Again, these tenses are not commonly used, but every once in a while you will find a reason to use them. The present perfect progressive is used to express an ongoing activity that is recent. For instance, I have been going to the gym a lot lately. That word lately means it's recent and it's an ongoing activity that's shown in the present perfect progressive, have been going. The past perfect progressive is used to express an ongoing activity that was completed before another action. So remember, for the perfect tense in the past, it's one past action relative to another. And now we have the same thing with the past perfect progressive. The British had been taxing the colonists for quite a while before the Boston Tea Party happened. Here we have for quite a while to show the extent of the verb. And now we get to the future tenses. For the simple future tense, it also has a simple format, but you have several choices to express the simple future, which makes it a bit confusing. You can use will plus the base form, be going to plus the base form, or even the present progressive. So I can say as a teacher, make sure you do your homework, and you would say, I will do my homework, or I will do my homework. The using of will means that you are promising. Or if you're talking to another student and the student asks you, what are you doing this weekend? You can answer, I am going to do my homework, or I am doing my homework. So the first one, I am going to do my homework, is be going to plus the base form. This shows a plan, not a promise. You can also use the present progressive to show a plan. I am doing my homework, or I'm doing my homework. Both of these are plans, but the use of will shows a promise. The future progressive, future perfect, and future perfect progressive tenses are not often used in English, but they're good to know because, again, you will use them every once in a while. The future progressive is formed by using will plus be plus the ing form of the verb. So he will be cooking dinner when you get home means that in the future, when you get home in the future, what will he be doing? He will be cooking dinner. So notice that the when you get is actually expressed in the simple present form, even though it expresses the future. A little bit tricky, I know. The future perfect is used with will plus have plus the past participle. So we have this sentence. He will have eaten already when you get home. Again, when you get home means in the future, even though it's written in the simple present. And before you get home, he will have eaten. So that's one time relative to another, but this time it's in the future. So first he eats, and then you get home. And the future perfect progressive has everything in there. It has will, have, been, plus the ing verb. He will have been cooking for 3 hours when you get home. So that means he's still cooking when you get there, but the emphasis is on the length of time. Notice that there's for 3 hours. He will have been cooking for 3 hours when you get home. So that means he started cooking, he's still cooking. He's been cooking for 3 hours, and then you get home. I know, that's a tough one, but it really expresses what it means. As always, thank you for listening.